remakes are becoming more and more frequent in the world of video games. It feels as though the gaming world really isn't too far behind Hollywood at this point, with some of the biggest releases year on year being remakes of classics that have come before. This year is another great example of that, with two of the most hyped releases being Resident Evil 3 and Final Fantasy 7. Unlike cinema though, video game remakes feel a lot more genuine and less of a cash-in. It feels like the player has a chance to go back and relive a game that they loved with modern day mechanics, and even opens up the door for those players who missed the game the first time round. Thinking about all this has driven me to do what I absolutely love to do whenever an opportunity arises, and that's listing and ranking games. So settle in once again as I rank my top 10 video game remakes so far. Just a quick note before we get started, this list will only include full-on ground-up remakes, no reboots, remasters or HD collections included. Come on, look on the bright side, at least this way The Last of Us can't be number 1 this time.
What are you so afraid of?
You're treading on some mighty thin ice here.
Number 10, Zelda Link's Awakening. Being one of the few Zelda games to not take place in Hyrule, the 1993 release of Link's Awakening was the first in the franchise to be released on a handheld system. That of course was the Game Boy. It made perfect sense then that last year we were treated to a ground up remake which was released in tandem with the new handheld only system, the Switch Lite. Though you can play this beautiful remake on the TV with your original Switch if you choose to, this handheld classic plays perfectly on the go and is a must have for every Nintendo Switch owner. 9. Ratchet Clank. Released in 2016, this reimagining of the 2002 original was released alongside the way less popular movie. Although this was probably intended to be nothing more than a movie tie-in, the updated visuals and gameplay was more than enough to justify its release and gave millions an excuse to jump back into Veldin for some good old nostalgia. I also believe this fun trip back in time to play an old platformer which we loved as kids was probably a big part of the reason we saw the likes of Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot also getting the big remake treatment. Number 8. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This one was a no-brainer for Activision. Many, including myself, will argue that Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare in 2007 was the Call of Duty game which really launched the series to new and unimaginable heights. So why not pay homage to that by remaking Modern Warfare using the more modern day Call of Duty gameplay mechanics, and adding an overall better online experience. It's not like they went purely for nostalgia with this remake though. There were enough changes to make this feel fresh and could arguably be seen as a reboot more so than a remake. Activision themselves even tiptoed around calling this a remake by calling it an epic reimagining of the iconic Modern Warfare series from the ground up. On top of all of this, the online mode introduces cross-platform multiplayer for the first time in the series history, making this title well worth your time and money for any fan of Call of Duty.
If you can't identify the target, you are the target.
Number 7. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Oh, hello again Activision. It's almost like these remakes are easy moneymakers, huh? I kid of course. Well, they are easy cash grabs, but we all love a good remake nonetheless, and Crash Team Racing is no exception. Originally developed by Naughty Dog and seen as a PlayStation classic, this remake, now in the hands of Activision, was released for the Xbox One and Nintendo Switch as well as the PS4. Much like the next entry on this list, this latest Crash remake was able to bring an all-time PS1 favourite for people my age, old, to an entirely new generation of players across multiple platforms. Crash Team Racing and the Insane Trilogy are perfect examples of what a remake should set out to achieve. 6. Crash Insane Trilogy. I don't really know what to say. Pretty much the same as the last entry, just with less cards. Next! Number 5. Shadow of the Colossus. Shadow of the Colossus feels like a game which Sony really wants everyone to play, and rightfully so. This game has now managed to appear on the last 3 generations of PlayStation consoles, which includes the original for the PS2, the HD remaster for PS3, and more recently, the hugely impressive remake for PS4. The latest edition is a stunning reimagining of exactly what Team Ico wanted this game to be. With the power of the PS4, they were able to really put across the enormous scale of these beautiful beasts and really show off exactly what this game could be. You've got 3 ways to play this now, so no more excuses. Go play it. Now. Go! Number 4. Tomb Raider Anniversary. Tomb Raider Anniversary was doing remakes before remakes were cool. This is easily the oldest remake on this list, having been released in 2007 on PS2, PSP, Xbox 360 and the Nintendo Wii, with the 2011 port being released on PS3 a little further down the line. Much like the Crash Bandicoot remakes in recent years, Anniversary was able to bring this 1996 PS1 classic to new players across new platforms and was arguably the point in time when Lara Croft stopped being a PlayStation icon. Hell, in recent years, the Tomb Raider games have even become timed Xbox exclusives. How times have changed, huh? Although this remake has now aged quite a bit itself, it's still the best way to play the first title in the series, and who knows, maybe this will be the first remake to get a remake.
Precisely why I've come to you, Miss Croft. This is a game you've played before.
Number 3. Yakuza Kiwami. One of the common complaints I would always hear about the Yakuza franchise was it was too long and complicated to get into, especially if you didn't play the first few entries into the series. Sega's answer to this was Yakuza 0, a game which acted as a prequel to the originals and was a great place for new players to start. After the success of Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami seemed like a natural next step for new players who had just been introduced to the series through that excellent prequel. Kiwami is a nearly faithful like-for-like remake of Yakuza 1 on the PS2. This remake looks absolutely stunning and plays even better than the original. It's given new players the choice of both this and Yakuza 0 as a suitable starting point to this long successful franchise. Plus, if you do jump on board with these games, Kiwami 2, that's right, you guessed it, a remake of Yakuza 2, is already available for you to continue your journey. Add to that, the Yakuza 3 remaster is already out and the Yakuza 4 remaster is coming later this year, and you can count yourself absolutely spoiled. Number 2. Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee. I'm in love with this remake. In fact, it's sat on pause right now while I record this. I would have never thought in a million years that a remake of Pokemon Yellow could recapture my obsession for the original like this little gem has. The nostalgia is strong in this one, as the game is full of familiar music, locations, and encounters which I remember so fondly from my childhood. The best thing about this remake though, is the little tweaks that Game Freak have made. The best one being that Pokemon encounters are no longer random, as you see them wandering around their environments, meaning that hunting for Pokemon to fill your Pokédex feels more achievable and way less frustrating than before. Pokemon from your party that you pick as your favourites will perform special one-off abilities like shaking off poison or holding on to an extra little bit of life just to make you happy. Plus, with modern day graphics, all the characters you know now look exactly how you remember them from the TV series. Of course, with this being a remake of a game that's over 20 years old now, it looks beautiful in comparison in every way imaginable. Add to that the ability to transfer your Pokemon from Pokemon Go, and this adds up to a remake which is more than a bit of nostalgia. It's a great reason to reignite that childhood obsession with catching them all. Number 1. Resident Evil 2. I don't think there was any doubt that Resi 2 would be taking the top spot here. Last year's faithful remake of the 1998 PS1 original is exactly what a remake should be. It's instantly recognisable as it plays out almost identically to the original, but with enough changes to make it worth your time. The best compliment I can pay Resident Evil 2 is that unlike every other game on this list, you would never even realise that this could be a remake if you didn't already know. It stands shoulder to shoulder with any AAA title released in 2019 and actually surpasses the majority of them. The visuals here are on another level compared to most remakes. This feels as if Capcom has slowly gone over every pixel and dragged it kicking and screaming onto a 4K screen with immaculate results. The updated visuals teamed with the more recent Resident Evil mechanics instantly makes this the best in the series for me. It shows how incredibly good the original was for its time, as this like-for-like remake still scares the daylight out of me even if I remember what's coming. This release wasn't just a fun trip back in time. For many, it was the game of the year for 2019, and for that reason alone, it deserves the top spot on this list. Roll on April 3rd, as we get to do this all over again with the Resident Evil 3 remake. I for one cannot wait.
This may be a one-way ride, so be prepared, Leon.
As always, thank you for watching. And I'm going to ask you what I always ask you to do at the end of these lists. I want to see your top 10 list. Throw it in the comments and I'll get back to you. For all the latest news and reviews, make sure to check out respawning.co.uk. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our other videos right here on our Respawning YouTube channel and subscribe while you're there. It'd be much appreciated. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/respawning where you can get some awesome rewards. It's well worth a look. Once again, thank you for watching. I've been Mikey and I'll catch you next time.